welcome to the Sharon and Joe Show. My name is Sharon.
My name is Joe.
Every Monday, we get together to discuss narcissism from both a male and a female perspective. As many of you know, we're in a long-distance relationship, so we usually communicate through text, email, and phone. Once a week, we hit the record button and include you in on our conversation so that all of us can share our experience, strength, and hope together. I release videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on all topics related to narcissism. So if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. We would really appreciate it if you gave the video a thumbs up. It's a free way you can help us out, and definitely don't forget to leave a comment because we want to know what you have to say. So for tonight's video, we're going to talk about a topic that can be very difficult for so many of us, definitely for me, and I know for Joe as well. Forgiveness, forgiving a narcissist. So Joe, I'm going to go right into it and ask you, have you forgiven your ex?
Yes, Sharon. To the best of my ability, I have. There's some times that I have a relapse now and again. I get very angry, but the deep-seated hatred that was there before, the revenge, I've let go of that. How is it? It's been a process too. How it is? What's it like for you now? What was it back like then?
Well, I'm on the process. I'm on the road to forgiveness. But I have to just say, forgiveness, I think the issue with forgiveness that a lot of people have is not understanding fully what it really means. Because when I think of forgiveness, I think of actually forgiving somebody, like it's okay what you did. I am okay with it, essentially. And that's not how it is with a narcissist. If I do something to hurt you accidentally, or I do something and I say to you, oh, I'm so sorry, please forgive me, and you forgive me, and you see that I've changed my behavior going forward, well, that's one type of forgiveness. That's a forgiveness that you can accept that, okay, that happened, shouldn't mean to do it, that type of thing. When it comes to a narcissist, it's a different type of forgiveness. Essentially, we're forgiving somebody that isn't sorry. We're forgiving somebody that has done atrocious things to us. But that's where it's important to know this type of forgiveness, what we're talking about. It's not forgiveness where it's okay. It's forgiveness where, you know what? I have to let this go because if I don't, it's going to destroy me. It's going to hurt me. So you're forgiving for yourself. You're helping yourself. So you haven't forgotten what the person did. You're not okay with what the person did, but you're accepting what happened so that you can move forward and have a beautiful life. So Joe, that's what forgiveness to me is, at least for a narcissist. What is forgiveness to you?
Well, it's the ability, for me, it's hard as a concept, but the ability to accept a person who's done me wrong for who they are, what they are, in my case, what they are, and to let go of what happened. That doesn't mean to forget, but it means to let it go. And for me, it was impossible without building a foundation and relationship with God again. For this last year and a half, no contact. It had to go. Complete abstinence. I was ingesting poison every time I had any kind of contact with this person at all. I had to separate myself and not replace it with, or move on, so to speak, but to replace it with a relationship with God. And letting go of the hatred, it was a slow process. It turned to anger, and it did all kinds of things to me, but that's what it means to me in a nutshell. Do you have like a belief system or a concept yourself of like forgiveness?
Well, for me, I think forgiveness, you actually have a lot to do with this, Joe. For a long time, I harbored a lot of hatred towards my ex, and it was hurting me. I mean, it was hurting me inside. And then on top of that, here I am in a relationship with you. I'm trying to raise my kids. I'm going to church. I'm doing whatever. And I have hatred inside of me every single day. And that's not healthy at all. So I think it's important to forgive for yourself. It has nothing to do with the narcissist. That's, I think, something that I had to learn because I couldn't understand forgiveness until I accepted that it was actually something for me, for my kids, for you, for everybody that's connected with me. I don't want to go around with hatred inside of me. So let me ask you, Joe, do you think it's worth it's worth forgiving a narcissist? Is it worth it? What does that mean for you?
Well, it's the forgiveness. It's a new freedom and a new happiness. I was in captivity for 20 years in this prison cell. We were cellmates, not soulmates. Um, if I didn't let go, the pain was so bad that I was going to die, spiritually, mentally, physically. I was at a point where I didn't want to live and I didn't want to die. And there was this pain and I had to reach out to my God. And that's been the best decision that I have ever made. Otherwise, there's a saying, resentment rots the container it sits in. That's what was happening to me. And I did not want to live the rest of my life feeling the way I did. Peace and serenity, no drama. I didn't need to be ecstatically happy just to be okay with myself and those around me. Otherwise, I was getting ulcers, my cortisol levels were up there, I was having panic attacks like twice a week. It's just no way to live. It was like an existence. I don't know. What was it like for you? Just the consequences of harboring that versus like the good it is to let it go.
Well, you know what? When you're going through life and you hate somebody, that affects every area of your life. So for me, being able to let go of that hatred, it changed my life. I mean, I'm an authentically happy person now. I couldn't say that before. You can't be happy, I don't think, if you're feeling hatred all the time, and especially the type of intense hatred that you can feel towards a narcissist. I mean, I really wanted bad things to happen to my ex. Every day I would hope something terrible would happen to him. I don't live on a busy street, but my street is like a lot of people cut through my street to get to another main street. So there's a decent amount of traffic. So sometimes I would see police cars drive down my street and I would actually hope that they were going to turn into my driveway so that they could tell me that my ex was dead. I wanted that. Like I was like thinking to myself, all right, how can I act not too happy when they come to the door to tell me that my ex is dead? I mean, that type of hatred, it hurts you. So I think forgiving or at least trying to forgive, or being open to forgive, it gives you a new lease on life. You can have real freedom. Now that I've let that go, it's almost like I've lost a ton of weight. I feel free. I can go into a relationship with you, Joe, and not drag 300 pounds of my ex into the relationship with me, which I'm sure you appreciate. And I think that's how it is for everybody. If you can let go of what happened, you're going to be able to live an authentic life. So many people, you're like drowning in the pain of the narcissistic relationship. It doesn't have to be that way. And it really does start with forgiveness. And I didn't think I could forgive my ex. I really didn't. I thought I'll just hate this person to the day I die. And then I'm going to be so happy when I watch them go to hell. I mean, that's how I felt. But that's not a way to raise children. That's not a way to be in a relationship. That's not a way to be close to my God. Because, like you said, Joe, and I feel exactly the same way, God rescued me from my relationship. He got me out. And what better way to thank him than to be his child? If he does something wonderful for me, or if anyone does something wonderful for you, and then you slap him in the face, I mean, what are you doing? So for me, I just feel like this is the best way for me to be my authentic self. This is the best way for me to live a meaningful life, for me to have happiness in my own life. Because like you, Joe, I was with my ex for 20 years and we were cellmates too. I was living in hell. I don't know how many more years I have to live. I hope a long time with you, Joe, but I don't know. But whatever time I have left, I want to be able to live with joy, with peace in my heart, and not be corrupted by hatred coursing through my veins. So, what do you think, Joe, the consequences are if you don't forgive?
Well, I could tell you that it's death. It's a spiritual death. I was, dying slowly physically as well. It's a loss of other relationships. I was affecting my kids. I'm a cool dad, I'm laid back, but they knew, like you could pick that up. There's energy, there's vibes, and they're bad. And, you give those off, and then you start meeting other people, that have the same kind of energy, and sometimes you fall victim to a narcissist again. You know, the whole point is that I got to a point where I wanted revenge. I wanted to have her die a slow death. The things that she's done to me, I call them atrocities. That ain't no joke. I had to go no contact. That was, for me, the only way. And even then, I was in pain for many, many months. But I was building this relationship with the God of my understanding. I just hung on for days until that relationship started to blossom. I had to give time. It's just, I had to live another way, Sharon. I was dying inside. I didn't want to die. So I reached out, and, I reached out to you, my support group, God. And from that point forward, there was this possibility that sunk in my head that maybe perhaps one day, maybe I won't hate her. That's all it took, because before I was going to hate her till death. It just took that little crack in my heart for the sunlight to enter in. And from that point forward, I was more focused on my faith and relationship with God than what she was doing. Then he started showing me miracles in my life. Like, not only did he save me from that, he showed me before, and he pointed out my own childhood trauma. And I was able to look at the narcissists for what they are, and the anger, the hatred turned to anger, turned to let go or get dragged, continue to get dragged. And there was another way, and I was okay. I was safe. My kids were okay. We got through the time she stole the car and I couldn't get them to school or the doctor's appointments, or when she took all the money out of my bank and I was broke. God was showing me, hey, this is the best thing that ever happened to you. And he was just trying to get my attention because he loves me. So I built that relationship with him. My whole self-worth and self-esteem, what I think about myself, is all based on that relationship with God. It's no longer based on the ex-narcissist.
I think you're right, Joe. Once you have that opening, once you have that thought, you know what, maybe one day, you don't have that hatred feeling. I think you're 80% there. So why don't you guys tell us, have you been able to forgive? Have you thought about forgiving? Is that something that's on the horizon? Or have you decided, you know what, no, they've just done too much? And I can understand that too. But one thing I have learned is that one of the most courageous decisions you will ever make is to let go of what's hurting your heart and your soul. Getting over a painful experience is like crossing monkey bars. You have to let go at some point to move forward. And I hope that everybody who's listening is able to do that, because it really has made such a difference in my life and in Joe's life. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody has a wonderful week. I will see you on Wednesday, and Joe will be back next Monday. And then after that, we'll be doing videos from our home together. So that'll be very exciting. So good night, everybody.
Good night.